Hello everyone, this is Randy back in the shop today working on a 380 small block Chevy. The header kit came. I got the headers all built and the distributor's in. Getting really close. I got to make spark plug wires yet and then hook everything up to run the motor. Be ready to fire probably next couple days. It's been kind of a challenge here with these parts. I told you last time I was going to show you putting the distributor in. I'll bring you over to the motor and I'll show you that right now. Coming over to the motor here, here's the headers that I built. They're a 2-inch equal length with a slip-on collector, and a little bit more on that here in just a second. Let me pull this cap off here. So I have the distributor all timed in. What you want to do when you put your distributor in is you want to get your distributor so that your number one basically is pointing at number one cylinder. You see them all twisted around sometimes, or number one will be actually be over here to route the wire over. But if you put your distributor in so that it points to number one cylinder, that's the right way to do it. Pull this cap off of here. You can see the rotors pointing at number one. This distributor here, the timing is locked, which means there's no centrifugal advance in it. So then to get it timed correctly, what you do is say you want to start out with your initial advance at 35 degrees. When you come over here, your crank pointer, your timing pointer, the first line right there, that's top dead center. Right there is 35 degrees before top dead center. So you set your balancer there, and then with your distributor pointed at number one, it'll be close on startup. It'll probably be, 32, maybe 30, 38 degrees, something like that. And then after you fire it, you put your timing light on it and set it. 35 degrees is where I'm going to start. It'll fire up every time. You won't have to crank and crank and crank and twist the distributor around and that kind of stuff. If you're not sure that it's on number one, just crank the motor over, put your finger in the spark plug hole till you feel it, the compression coming up, and you look at your balancer to make sure your balancer's is coming up proper. When the number one cylinder is at top dead center, it'll be lined up with your pointer. So that's why it's at 35 degrees advanced right now. And they'll start every time. Here's the headers on the other side. And I went to put the valve covers on, and the valve covers wouldn't fit because they were hitting the valve train. Let's set this down right here a second here. These rocker arms actually protrude over the valve cover rail. You can see how that is sticking above it there. Well, the valve cover on the inside has got a rail right here, and this rail was too thick to clear the valve cover with a gasket. It fit without a gasket, but when I put a valve cover gasket on it, this rail was too thick and it was hitting the edge of the rockers. It was hitting the back side of the rocker arms right here. So I had to take 125 thousandths off of this surface to get this rail thin enough so it would clear the rocker. It was a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out how I was going to hold it. So what I ended up doing is I made some stands that stood up in here, put a plate underneath it like this here, and drilled some holes for this spacing, made stands with a little stud on the end that fit into valve covers, and then I took a bar and went across the end of it here with a clamp on the mill table, milled this out, milled the both sides out, then I moved the clamp over and then milled the end, and then just sanded it a little bit to make sure that it would look somewhat presentable, because the surface finish, because in the middle here it was vibrating a little bit, but it looks good, and I'll be right back. And the thing too on the headers, the headers had a square hole in it for the pipe, and you know the pipe is round and you got to make it fit in a square hole. So what I ended up doing is I made this die here like this and put the pipe over the top of it here and hammered it flat on the ends till it looked like this. That fits right on here like that, and just hammered it flat on the flats, and then it fit right in the header flange that bolts to the head. And for a breather in these covers, because these covers have no breather in them, there's normally a little baffle there that covers up this hole right here. Speedway Motors sells these. They're a bolt-in with an O-ring on the bottom, and they have O-rings in the inside here. And you just take your standard breather that uses a grommet here and just push it in. That's all there is to it. So this is like a baffle for your breather, so it doesn't shoot out oil, so your breathers don't leak oil. And it's also an oil fill. Put a little funnel in there, and that's where you can fill your oil. It's kind of a slick deal. So that's the name of that. That's how that works. So I'm going to get these put on, get the valve covers bolted on, and start making plug wires. And we'll be right back. All right, back at the bench here. These are the spark plug wires. These are made by Taylor. It's a really good wire. I like the ends because you can pull on them, and you don't have to worry about pulling the boot off the end. They give you something good to grab onto, and these are universal, so you can cut them to the length that you need. And how you do that, how you make these, is you take the wire in a wire strippers. I already measured this one approximate length, and you want to cut about 3/4 of an inch off the end, and then turn this here, and then you pull it off, and you take the center core and you fold it over the top, and these are the ends that go on like that there, and take a pliers and lightly squeeze this together a little bit. And this tool here is MSD has these here. It's a crimping tool. What you do is you put the open end in down. I gotta squeeze this one together a little bit more. Put the open end in down. After I squeeze this together just a little bit more here. Because this has got a groove in it here that actually folds the ends over. You put that in there like that, and you put this together. Let's see here. Yep. It's like this here. It's like that there. And you put it in a vise and you squeeze it. I'll swing it around here and I'll go over to the vise. And you can see. Put this in, tighten this down. And when you pull it out, you have an end that's folded over like that. Then all you do is you take a little bit of silicone spray, spray the inside of the boot, just like that there, and you just slide this in until you see the electrical terminal inside the boot. You can see the electrical terminal inside. This is Randy back in the shop today. Got the motor on a run stand, and I've had it running. Had a little issue with the carburetor. 85 was all new to me, but to me the motor acted like it was running too rich, because I would shut it off and I'd have to crank to get the thing to start again. So I pulled it apart, looked at it, and made a couple changes, and it seems to be much better. So I'll bring it over to the motor, and we'll do a walk around on it, and then we'll fire it up so you guys can see it run. Be right back. Okay, we're back over at the motor. These are the headers that I built. They're a 2-inch header with a slip-on collector, and this is a Horsepower Innovations 950 E85 carburetor, because we're going to run this motor on E85. It's all had water in it and that kind of stuff, and oil pressure is real good. No major issues. I pulled the valve covers on it this morning and rechecked the valve lash, and that's all good. So this is how my setup on the run stand works. This is a radiator out of a Chevy pickup truck with the fans, and got a Crane HI6R ignition box running the ignition, MSD distributor, and got a fuel cell down there at the bottom with a Holley pump for a fuel system with a gauge on it, and set the timing and stuff already. So we'll get the door open here a little bit and we'll start this thing up. Be right back. There it is, all ready to run. I called the Performance Engineering. That's the place I have dyno them, and I have to call, they were full this week, so I have to call them back first of next week, and we'll figure out a date next week to get it dynoed, and we'll see what this thing is made of. Be right back. All right, back over at the bench here. That's the motor running. I'm not really sure what the issue is with the starting. It acts like it's flooding. 85 is all new to me, and I tried calling Eric from Horsepower Innovations, and he had surgery a day or two ago, and he's going to call me in a couple days when he gets feeling better. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. I don't know if it acts like it's too rich, but you can't read the spark plugs because of the ethanol. The plugs show no color. They will after a period of time. You know, you do some street driving on it or make some quarter-mile passes or whatever. I'm sure we'll get some color on them on a dyno, but you pull a plug out and the plug looks just like brand new. So that's the only issue there. Other than that, the thing runs really good. It's real responsive. Oil pressure's good. Water temperature is good, gets up to about 170, and I turn on the cooling fan, it cools right off. So this has been a long project, and next week we're going to find out how much horsepower it makes, and I'll bring you along for the ride. Until then, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.